It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
Hey everybody, today I am taking a look at the new Versa system. I say the new Versa system because this package is a new sort of re-implementation of an older collectible card game called Versa System also, which I have some of here. This is the Hellboy collection. Love Hellboy. And in this new format, the game is not a collectible card game. You get everything that is out for the game in one box. It has several factions in there, but the basic idea is you are building up your deck or taking a pre-built one and going head-to-head with your opponent in a duel, trying to come out on top and crush them and all of that good stuff. The game is basically a simplified, sort of tweaked version of that original game. Is the game any good, though? Let me show you a brief overview of how the game works now, or, if you've never seen the original one, just so you have an idea of how this operates, and then I'll tell you what I think of it. Here's what the game might look like set up at the beginning. Each player has their own deck of cards, of 60 cards. They have their main character that you picked for the game, and then we have a pile of common tokens here. And each player draws 7 cards. You may discard the opening hand if you don't like it and draw another 7. And then you're ready to begin. The way the game works and the objective of the game is to take your opponent's main character all the way down to 0 life. In this case, we have Captain America here for the Avengers, who starts with 5 life. And we have for the X-Men, Wolverine leading the team, also 5 health. If either player can take the other side's character down to 0, they win the game. Each round is broken up into 4 phases, and they are the draw phase, the recovery phase, the build phase, and then the main phase where most the action happens. So, first thing is the draw phase, in which you draw 2 cards. However, the starting player on their opening turn will not draw anything. After that, we have the recovery phase, in which characters that were stunned come back and everybody readies. Stunned looks like this. This is not ready, and then you stand them straight up and they're ready, okay? So stunned, during this step, anybody who is stunned like this, you're going to flip them over and stand them upright. After that, you are going to do the build phase, in which you may play 1 card down here into your resource row, and then for each card in that row, you get 1 build point, basically 1 recruit point, to bring new characters out onto the board. The cards that go in the resource row can be any card face down, or you can play basic locations here, face up, and they give you a symbol that you can later use to trigger some special power on a character by flipping the card face down. So since I have this in my opening hand, I'm going to go ahead and use that. And now I have 1 point, which means I can recruit characters that are worth 1. I have Deadpool here, who is worth 2. Captain America is worth 3. I know he's out here on the field as well, but I'll talk about something else you can do with this card. Spider-Man for 4. Doctor Strange for 5. And Ant-Man is 1. Perfect. So we can bring Ant-Man out. And now we have to pick who goes in the front row and who goes in the back row. In a very simple way to very simply put, characters in the front row defend the back row, and characters in the front row are the ones who can attack. There's a couple of symbols on cards that let you break those rules, like you can attack from the back, or you can fly over your opponent's front row, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. So putting both of these guys out, and then they attack. And this is the main phase, that's it. During the main phase, I can use people by turning them sideways and picking a target and attacking. Every character has, besides possibly some special abilities, which are very straightforward usually. They have an attack value and a defense value. In this case, we have Captain America an attack of 2, a defense of 5. So I could attack in two ways to attack. I can just have a solo attack, which means I take this character and I declare defender and I attack them, and they smack each other. Or I can do a team attack, as long as the characters are from the same team. So, Avengers, they can both attack together. It could be more than 2 people, whatever. This is the way that the game allows for you to have 3 characters who are strength 2 taking down a single character who is toughness of 6. Because you can team attack, whoop, and with 3 guys take down 1 guy. That's one way to do it. And so for right now, I'm going to go ahead and use both of these. They're going to team attack, wear Wolverine there. And at this point now, each player could play tricks from their hand, trigger powers, etc. They could do things like, let me see if this character has anything in their hand here. Alright, this one, for instance, says, this is called Squad Tactics, and it says, during combat is when you play it, even your opponent's combat, and it says put a +1/+1 counter on each character on your side of the combat. Fine. So they could play this card, discard it, and then we find a +1/+1 counter, put it on them there, and now instead of a 3/4, they're a 4/5. Fine. And so now this player could do some trickery, etc. Once this is done, then both sides are going to compare their strength versus the opponent's toughness and vice versa. And if it's enough, so I'm hitting for 5, they take 5. Let's say that's not the case right now, but let's say that's what's happening. Then that character is stunned. They're going to get flipped face down like I showed you earlier, and they take a wound. And we put a wound token on there. If it's one of the supporting characters, which are the ones that come from the deck, it's likely that they die after a single hit, so you just remove it. You don't have to go through the trouble of flipping them. They just go away. So this player is right now a 4/5. I'm only hitting for 4. I need to be able to hit for 1 more, and this is where my Captain America card comes into play. I can discard a character of the same, a copy of the same character that's on the table. This is a general rule in the game, to add +1/+1 to that character. Boom. Now that's enough. Let's assume combat ends there. Wolverine is going to get stunned. They are going to do 4 damage back, and when you are being team attacked, you get to pick who you hit. They are going to go for Ant-Man, who is killed, and Wolverine is stunned. We take these +1/+1 tokens off, and we add a wound to Wolverine, and that's it. That would be the end of the turn. Then it would be that character's turn. Again, very quickly, they do this. Draw 2, bring this back, give the wound to them again, look at their cards, play something face down because they don't have any of these cool ones. They are going to then recruit, and then they are going to attack. Okay? You continue doing this, again, until you take out your opponent's main character. There is one more thing. Main characters have on them a level 1 symbol up here. And there is a level 2 for all of these characters, and that's it. And the way you get to level 2 is by, there's some rule on every card that tells you put XP on them, which are these XP tokens, and once they have a certain amount, and they say how much, then you just replace it with the level 2. Alright, so that's the basic game. You keep going until you knock out your opponent's main character, and you win the game. Besides these cards you're seeing here, the game comes with these cards. The game comes with 400 cards. And you also have, so you have different characters for each side here. Captain America. You could have the Hulk as your main character, Iron Man, Spider-Man. For the X-Men, you could have Professor X. You could have Deadpool. You could have Storm, Wolverine. You could have for the super evils here, whatever they're called, Magneto, Green Goblin, Loki. You could have Thanos. And then for the Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot, Gamora, Star-Lord, and Rocket. And obviously there are cards for them as well. And in the game, the decks I have here set up are just the basic ones, but you can deck build as well and really include characters from anything you want together and make your ideal deck of cards. But of course, the sacrifice there is that you might not always be able to pull off a team attack if the characters are not from the same team. And so that's basically it, and that is how you play Versus System. I do like the original Versus System. In fact, obviously I still have some of it here. It was never a mind-blowing game for me, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting, superhero-themed, head-to-head battle design. The new one here definitely simplifies some of the things away, and I like some of them, and I'm not so sure about others. I think the idea of simplifying an old collectible card game and bringing it back out in a nice solid package is a good idea. I feel this game lost a little bit of flavor in that transfer, and some of the aspects of the game make for a great game for someone who is not into collectible card games but is into superheroes. But if you're someone who liked the old one, or just someone who is used to living card games, collectible card games, then this might be a little simple for you. It's definitely on the lighter side of this style of game. I was not too pleased with the production quality. The box is pretty flimsy. The cards are starting to show wear already, and that's after a few plays. The tokens are really low quality. They're just, crummy cardboard punch-outs. That could have been a little bit better. So, thumbs down from the production quality aspect of it. But the gameplay is alright. I still like Versus System, the original, better than I like this. I think the new simplification robbed it of some of the tactics in the original. But again, if you are someone who is into superheroes, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Marvel world in any way, then I do recommend you check it out if you like that and you're not necessarily someone who is into CCGs or LCGs. So for that, yeah, check this out. Otherwise, if you are someone who is into games like Netrunner, Doomtown, that sort of game, this is maybe too light for you, and you can probably safely skip it. So there you go, somewhere in the middle for me. That is the new Versus System.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.